400 milligrams for the entire meal is your new, tool to use to decide what to eat. And, several of those things I just mentioned, it might be exceeding that in just that one piece of the meal. So, hi, welcome to the Judy Terrell Show, where I explore topics intended to optimize every body 50, 60, 70, and above. Hi, everybody, and welcome to your second 50 years on the planet. And you are now joining me in my 15th series. The topic I'm addressing in this series is how to use what I call behavioral medicine to reduce blood pressure. All right. I am a nationally board certified health coach. I have been working in the health industry as a coach for over 40 years. I started to specialize in over 50, men and women both, when I turned 50, which is now over a decade ago. And so I've been in the over 50 population, in the grassroots, front lines with clients individually and now digitally. And I'm trying to present what I call behavioral medicine, or what are behaviors that you do every single day that can work as medicine, either in conjunction with your medicines that you might be taking, pharmacological medicines from your doctors, or you might use behavioral medicine as a way to avoid having to go on medications. So whether you are, trying to be preventive with some of the disease states and challenges of over 50 physically, whether you are on the borderline and your doctors are giving you like 6 months to kind of like reverse it before they discuss medications with you, or you were already diagnosed, but you would like to do some things on a behavioral basis that can go with the medications that you are prescribed and may help you to get on lower dosages. All right. That is my agenda. And in this series, I am focusing in specifically on high blood pressure because many of my clients who come to see me, high blood pressure is one of their secondary health issues, if not their primary, for why they're coming to me to get coaching. And so I want to address it in a series. This is episode number 2. In the first episode, I addressed potassium levels, very important. And most people don't even understand how potassium works in coordination with sodium in the body and how that affects blood pressure. So if you haven't watched that episode, go back and check that one out. Very important. This one, I am focusing in on sodium, and it's no secret. If you're on the planet for 50 plus years, sodium intake is related to blood pressure. It is not the only thing. This is a series of 6. So I'm going to tell you about 5 other things. But in this episode, I'm talking about the sodium. And we all know high sodium, not good for high blood pressure, can help to cause it, can help to keep it elevated even on medications. And so I want to help you to understand a little bit more of the subtleties about sodium in your diet, and then give you some tools to take forward that you can easily apply to your everyday eating, but from a very specific and simple to follow knowledge base. All right, so let's start with that knowledge base. Everyone knows sodium, not good for you. It's too high of a rate. Sodium is also, necessary for life, so you don't want to go to 0. But it's found in so many things naturally, as well as when you add salt. And now in our food manufacturing, it is, and this is probably one of the main problems that's related to blood pressure, is that it's used for flavor enhancers, for preservatives to sit on shelves to be transported and still not go bad. So, we're all kind of have to be aware of not just sodium, but like how much should we target and what foods are using sodium derived ingredients to enhance flavors and to keep it from going bad that may be under our radar and we're not even realize that we're getting higher sodium content from. And that's what I want to help you to leave this episode with full knowledge of. All right. So now the average human, adult human, 50 plus, the recommendation for sodium is about 2,500 milligrams a day. The more you sweat, the more athletic you are, the more you might need more. But I'm going to go over the average right now. Average person working out or not working out. But, if you are working out, it's not excessive sweating. Okay. So 2,500 milligrams is like what's recommended. However, if you have high blood pressure, that number gets brought down to 1,500 milligrams a day. All right. So that's number 1. Write that down somewhere. Put it in your memory banks. Put a note in your phone. 1,500 milligrams a day. And now many people I talk to say, well, I don't put salt on my food when they come to me for coaching, health coaching. I don't use salt in my food. I don't really have a high sodium diet. But upon analysis, when I can get them to track some things, they're flabbergasted. Because when they track and they're actually looking things up, they are well over 2,500 milligrams a day, not adding one single kernel of salt to anything. All right, so 1,500 milligrams a day is what you're shooting for if you have high blood pressure. All right, even medicated. Okay, you don't want to exceed that. So if you're eating 3 meals and a snack, that's 4 times you're eating in a day, let's just say, and 1,500 milligrams is your target, you're looking at about 400 milligrams for your meal, right? So that now we're breaking it down into like bite-sized chunks. So if you're eating a lunch, you can look at whatever the ingredients panel, the label, or go online and look it up, and you can see how many milligrams of sodium something is. But now you've got a number to shoot for. 400 milligrams total. Each meal, if you're eating 4 meals a day, is about what you're shooting for. All right. Now, I might be shocking you now because I have some items here that I want to share with you as to how I witness when I'm coaching people and through the years of having them track sodium content for a couple days and seeing where is this sodium coming in. Some things might be surprising to you. Some of them might be obvious. All right. So one of the more obvious ones is going to be dairy and specifically cheese. All right. So here is cheese. This is slices. Okay. American slices. And one slice is 70 calories. And if you look at the sodium content, you're going to see, sodium, 210 milligrams per slice. Okay. So if you have 2 slices of cheese, you are done with the sodium for that meal. And I guarantee you the cheese is not the only thing with sodium that you're having. All right. And let's just say you have 1 slice. All right. So 210 for this particular brand. But I want you to be aware, cheese is a high sodium food. And if you're eating it on a regular basis, you can very easily be exceeding the sodium content from using cheese. So, using instead sliced avocado as a cheese substitute. You could be using, even the plant-based cheeses are high in sodium. So, whether you're using a dairy and or you're using a vegan, really doesn't affect the sodium content. You got to look at the sodium amount. So in essence, I'm going to tell you, I'm not saying not to have any cheese because, 210 milligrams for a slice can fit your plan. But you want to be careful about excessive. So follow that, see how much cheese you're using. Block cheeses, processed cheeses, some of them are even higher. The one I just showed you here is like a moderate level. So cheese is even higher than what I just showed you. And that's pretty high, relatively speaking. All right. Because it's not the only sodium food you're going to probably have in your meal. All right. So now what's another way that we get a lot of sodium? Many of us are doing meal preps, meals, either in the grocery store or having them ordered and brought in. And they are something I recommend for convenience. Certain brands I recommend over others, but I just want to highlight for you, this is a brand I recommend, and it is healthy, all organic. It's actually a vegan product. Not that I'm a vegan recommender per se, but all organic, all vegan. And 1 serving is 510 calories for the bowl, but let's look at the sodium. And you can see 670, which, by the way, they'll tell you here, is 30% of your day. So this might be okay if you're only eating 3 meals and then you're having about 500 milligrams of sodium. It's still over that, but that's 690 for 1 meal. And I just told you a target of 400. So now you're over. I am so excited to announce your second 50.life. I have been working in the fitness industry with individuals, both men and women, over 50 years old for 42 years and really specialized in the last 10 on over 50. I'm over 50 myself by a long shot. And I've helped literally thousands of men and women both to lose the extra body fat that they gain in the second half of their life. 2, feel better in their own bodies energetically. I have helped people to reverse and eliminate health problems, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, pre-diabetes, symptoms of menopause, to name just a few. On this platform, you will have access to an entire body of resources, exercise videos, mini courses, eating plans that are specially designed for over 50 men and women because there's special needs for our demographic. And in addition to the virtual resources that you'll have access to if you join at any time that you'd like, you also have access to me for one-on-one coaching through a group coach call every month. So you can bring your specifics and we can address those as you're also getting information that is specific to the over 50 population. 50s, 60s, 70s, and now 80s is the demographic that I'm working with. So it's yoursecond50.life, yoursecond 50.life. Go check it out. It might be the single best thing that you've looked at like in your second 50s. And people are like, oh my God, but I thought that was healthy and good for me. We're specifically looking at sodium right now. I'm not arguing whether or not this is healthy or not, but if you have high blood pressure, you might not want to choose the already prepared meals. And I understand there's a convenience to that for some of us, but you got to weigh it out, stroke or convenience. And what are some other ideas I can come up with? You can pre-cook, ground turkey or tempeh, if you're a vegan base, keep that in a refrigerator, and other things that you kind of cook in bulk and then kind of put things together on a plate and heat it up in a microwave and come out at lower sodium without that much more inconvenience. Crock pot meals, if it's a winter setting in your place in the earth. Air fryers are very good for quick, easy, but bulk cooking where you're buying the fresh products that are raw and then you cook, but you're not adding, in here they're adding, various things like that are going to help to flavor enhance and then also, keep it from going bad until you get it. Even though it's frozen, it still can go bad as it's being transported. So, you've got to take that into consideration if you have a high blood pressure because all the pre-made meals are high in sodium. They just are. Okay. This is a big one. This one is getting a lot of people and it's under the radar. So condiments, all right? Condiments are crazy high in sodium, but you don't even think about it and it's not part of the main meal. But I'm going to ketchup, okay? This is 1 tablespoon is 10 calories. All right, good. I can use ketchup as a condiment because it's low calorie and low sugar, because this is a low sugar Heinz, no sugar added. But let's look at the sodium. 1 tablespoon is the serving. Nobody uses 1 tablespoon. Nobody. It's like 2 or 3. And sometimes people use like a quarter of this bottle if you're a condiment, connoisseur and you like sweat on your food. But 1 tablespoon, which again, not very big at all. And the sodium content is 190 milligrams. Okay. You can see that right in here somewhere. Yeah. 190 milligrams for 1 tablespoon. Okay, let's round that up. 200. That's half your meal for 1 tablespoon. No one's using 1 tablespoon. Oh, and by the way, let's say you use 2, just being conservative. There's your 400 milligrams. Oh, but you put this on a burger, a cheeseburger, which had a slice of cheese, or maybe 2. So now that's 600 milligrams of sodium. And I haven't even gotten to the French fries with the salt on it. Okay, so you see how quickly condiments, you have to really be looking at, if you have high blood pressure, low sugar or no sugar is good for you, but you want to look at the low sodium ketchups that are out there. All right. My next one, this one, I had a client once, we could not find, on 4 blood pressure medications and still the blood pressure was high. Well, he was a chip and salsa eater. Okay. And this is when I learned this, but here's salsa. This is a healthy brand, but 2 tablespoons of salsa. And again, people don't use 2 tablespoons. You can eat half this bottle if you're eating, because it's low calorie. There's a selling point to the salsa. And I'm not saying salsa is bad. I think it's really good. But the sodium content here for 2 tablespoons is 410 milligrams. That's the meal. Okay. Nobody's stopping at 2 tablespoons. So this client I'm telling you about, he was taking in like 4,000 milligrams of sodium a day, swearing to me up and down that he didn't salt his food and he couldn't understand where there was no sodium coming in. Well, I had him do a food journal, but not for the calories and not for the macros. I said, all I want you to do is look at your brands and look at your ingredients that you're putting in and track the sodium. And that's how we found that. Now, there are low sodium salsas. You can make your own salsa. And I get it, not convenient. However, again, here's the scale: stroke or convenience, and you got to weigh that out. Because I'm telling you right now, this gentleman I just told you about was on 4 blood pressure medications. So don't think I'm just going to take the medication and then I can eat. It doesn't matter what I eat. It certainly does. Okay. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So look at these sodium levels. And then what's the last one? I think that was, I don't have anything here to demonstrate, but the two other big things that have high sodium, and again, I don't think you're going to find these surprising, is your processed meats. So your bacon, even your turkey bacon, organic turkey bacon or high-fat pork bacon, one is arguably healthier than the other. One can be used natural, no nitrites, no sodium benzoate, better healthy-wise, yes, but the sodium contents are the same on the turkey bacon versus the pork bacon. All right. So, you could be picking up, 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium in like 4 slices of turkey bacon or 2 slices of turkey bacon, depending on the brand. So your processed meats, so you've got your bacons, you've got your hams, Canadian bacon, your luncheon meats, hot dogs, your organic chicken sausages, I'm not saying you can't eat them necessarily, but if you're looking at, you have high blood pressure and you're focusing in on the sodium, 400 milligrams for the entire meal is your new, tool to use to decide what to eat. And, several of those things I just mentioned, it might be exceeding that in just that one piece of the meal. So, and then you put some ketchup on it and then you have a piece of cheese and, you see how it adds up, right? So the processed meats, and then the final thing is your, processed canned soups. There are low sodium varieties for the soups. That's the ones you got to buy. Because any other soup, if it doesn't say low sodium, you are just, adding, like you're coating your inner cells with sodium and throwing off the balance of sodium and potassium and raising blood pressure. And then if you add not well hydrated to that, it's even worse. All right. But I'm going to talk about that in another episode. But this episode, in conclusion, sodium content, obviously, everyone knows this. But now I just gave you some numbers to shoot for and some things to look at where it might be getting in to your eating where you may not know it. All right, everybody. So I hope that you got some value out of this. And if you did, go back and watch the first episode. There's 6 in this series. So there's 4 more coming, or 4 more on my platform. So if you're finding value in this, I am putting out information that is specific to 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and now 90-year-olds. I'm in that demographic myself. I want to help optimize. I want to provide you with the tools we over 50 need. It's different than what we needed when we were younger people. And when you go on the internet, a lot of times it's not distinguished. And so you might be following information that's not correct for our age demographic. So my platform, yoursecond50.life, is a consolidated information resource with videos, with printoutable information for you, and twice monthly coaching in a group setting remotely. So you can ask questions of me, and I'm presenting a topic that would, again, little piece of information that you can institute into your daily behaviors, behavioral medicine. All right, everybody, be well. I want to just highlight, we are all in this together. We all want to live long but vital lives, like our health span. We want that to be higher, using Peter Attia's terminology, not just lifespan, but health span. How healthy are you in your 80s and 90s? My goal is to help myself and all my friends that are going to be with me, to feel our best as we're aging. So you're like-minded, so we're all in this together. And I'm going to tell you right now, you got this, and I want to help. And if you'd like to have access to some of my additional resources, I can be found at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on my website, www.judyterrell.com.